Morning, boys and girls. It's good to be with you again today. And as we've been doing these last weeks, we're disciples of Jesus. We're followers of Jesus. We follow him, and we learn from him. And today, we're going to be with Jesus when he performs one of his great miracles. A miracle, boys and girls, is something very special when God does it. He's able to do what we, as human beings, as when you're like your father and mother and you and me, cannot do ourselves. Like, we can't do what Jesus did and say to a person who's blind, "See," and they see. Or we can't do what Jesus did when a man could not walk and he said, "Get up and walk," and he got up and walked. That's a miracle, an extraordinary, a great happening that we cannot do. Today we're going to see one of the other miracles that Jesus does. We call it the feeding of the 5,000. Boys and girls, Jesus has been out in the countryside. There's so many people that come to hear him, to come to listen to him and be healed by him, that he can't be in towns. He has to be out in the country so that they could all come and gather around. And this day, he has been teaching again about God's love for them and healing the sick. And it's getting late. And they're not near any town. And the disciples said, "Jesus, we better send them away now because it's getting late and they have to get going so that they could get to the town and find something to eat." Jesus said to them, "You feed them." What, they said? We feed them? Lord, look at how many people are out there. Boys and girls, the Bible teaches us that there were 5,000 men plus women and children. So let's say we double that number. 10,000. 10,000. Boys and girls, that's getting almost as big as Morris, Illinois. Think of all the people in Morris, Illinois. Because there was women and children, there could be 15,000 out there. That's like Morris, Illinois. All of those people. And you're going to feed every one of them? Whoa! How can you do that? Boys and girls, there's nothing impossible with Jesus. Nothing impossible with Jesus. So Jesus said, "What do we have?" And one of the disciples said, "Well, there is a boy here. He's got 5 loaves of bread and a couple fish. But look at all the people, Lord. Look at them all. We can't feed all those people with 5 loaves of bread and a couple of fish." Jesus says, "Bring it here." And they brought the boy with his loaves and fish. And Jesus said to the boy, "Are you willing to share what you have?" And the boy said, "Jesus, you take it." And Jesus took those bread and that fish, and he did what we've talked about before, boys and girls. He prayed. He prayed to God his Father. And suddenly, the fish and the bread multiplied. And the disciples were able to take it into the crowd, and they fed each and every one of those people. were finished eating, when everybody was full, and the disciples went out and collected what was left over, there were 12 baskets full, boys and girls. There was more food left over than they began with. Wow! Isn't Jesus wonderful? God still provides for us today, boys and girls. Remember when we talked about the Lord's Prayer that Jesus taught us? One of the things we say in the Lord's Prayer is, "Give us this day our daily bread." We pray to God each day that He will feed us. And He does, boys and girls, does He not? Each of you have food on your table. God provides that, boys and girls. Yes, your mom and dad go to the store and buy those things, but God provides. God enables it to happen. He feeds you, just as He fed that crowd. But boys and girls, we learn another story from this lesson. That little boy shared what he had. That's where it all began. If he didn't share, it could not have happened. But he shared what he had, and that made a difference. That's what God asks us to do, boys and girls. To share what we have. We have been blessed by God, and so we share with those who have less than us. And by that, we show God's love. Just as this little boy shared, we do too. That ends our story again, boys and girls. Again, it's been good to be with you this week, and we'll see you again next week. God bless you.